Welcome to Extra Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
And this is the extra channel that sometimes takes place in a basement.
Because it's intimate.
Why? You always gotta... He lit candles. I said the last time he
They're
lit
electric.
candles.
I didn't like... If I'd gone through the process of lighting them, I would agree there'd be something questionable about that. And you could call...
Who do you call in this moment?
Child abuse hotline. I don't know.
Are you calling me a child? They're LED.
Deepest voiced child I know. And today, we want to discuss things.
We're just gonna kind of have a chat about the cars.
We're gonna get real.
We're gonna get real. We're gonna have a chat about the cars that we own and the cars that we want. Okay. Well, how about? So first of all, I have more cars than you. I do.
Doesn't make me feel good.
This is an objective fact. It's not a competition.
Because you have a problem, not because it's not a solution.
I didn't say I didn't have a problem.
Yeah.
I was stating a fact.
All right. Well, why don't we do yours in order of chronology? Start with the oldest car you own.
The oldest car I own is a 1972 Alfa Romeo Spider.
And its name?
Is Spaghetti.
Spaghetti. Because the license plate says Spaghetti.
Spaghetti. But Spaghetti with only one T.
Because you ran out of...
There's a ran out of characters. Yeah, I would have done the full Spaghetti, but it's Spaghetti. You can't pronounce it differently. It's great.
It's like spaghetti, isn't it?
No, that doesn't sound good. Spaghetti is what we're calling it.
I don't think you can top that license plate. I think it fits that car perfectly.
It's great. Speaking of which, I'm trying to figure out a vanity plate for my M2. Different conversation. We'll get there in a second. Yeah, Spaghetti is my almost entirely stock 1972 Alfa Romeo Spider, and I love it to pieces. It's my favorite car I've ever owned, and it is a classic Alfa Romeo that is the most reliable car I've ever owned. Please explain that.
But you've had to fix it and stuff. I've seen...
Listen, the fan exploded and put a hole in the rad into the hood.
So I see what's happening.
That is not that's probably just mismanagement.
If you missed the asterisk there, Thomas says the most reliable car I have ever owned, he said.
Yeah, so it's an important caveat.
No, because you own a bunch of
really unreliable cars.
That doesn't make the car. That's not something you would put on a poster.
But if it's just probability says that if a car, even in my fleet, is going to break down, it's going to be the classic Alfa.
Fair enough.
Right? Anyway, I love that car. I took off it's not carbureted. It's got a rudimentary type of fuel injection called Spica. And it uses like a pump and like where the throttle body moves to inject the right amount of fuel. And anyway, I'm going to do carbs eventually, but right now I've got these open intakes on it, so it has this blah. You haven't driven it since the blah.
Aren't carburetors annoying? Like, it doesn't...
Yeah, they're annoying, but they're so cool and the throttle response is better and you get more power.
Has a radio?
No. I don't need one. I have a little independent throttle bodies. Okay. I just got an engine. That's all I need.
ITBs.
Also, the wind in your hair is so loud,
right?
You wouldn't really hear the radio anyway. Anyway, I love that car.
Why don't we alternate then?
Okay, go ahead.
I haven't got much to alternate with. It's going to be... I have a 2016, it's my oldest car, is a 2016 Mazda MX-5 Miata.
It's practically a classic.
It literally is. You're joking.
Yeah, you can't just call it
a classic. It's a modern classic.
Modern classic.
It is known as the ND1 now, because there's since been an ND2.
Which got an adjustable steering wheel.
Yeah, telescoping steering wheel.
Dual mass flywheel.
Slightly high red line.
High red line, more power.
No, it didn't get more power.
More torque.
No, it got more horsepower as a result of the high red line.
So it got more power.
Technically, but if you floor it in second gear, it doesn't feel any different until you get to those last revs.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So since there's more revs, there's more power.
Exactly.
So it's otherwise the same. So were yours to have more revs,
you'd be able to, which is a great thing. It's fun to rev out a car. Why wouldn't you want to rev it out for longer? Yeah. I would do a 15,000 RPM if I could. But then you just never change gear.
You also have your engine rebuilt every few kilometers.
Not Mazda ones.
Oh, really? Okay.
Anyway, I have a license plate that says Forsaken because I am a lover. Nope. I happen to have a fondness for a man
However you say this.
Carl Sagan was a great humanist and science man, and we lost him 25 years ago as of yesterday.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
He was awesome, and I just wanted to honour him with my plate because it's my little pale blue dot, and the Miata is blue.
Oh,
boom.
Got it. So the little dot, pale blue dot.
It is manual. It is rear-wheel drive. It is one of the last new, and this is why I love it so much, because it literally feels like a resto mod. It is a high revving-ish, if you get the ND2, rear-wheel drive, lightweight, manual. That's all I got.
Basically a GT3.
Convertible.
Yeah.
It's a baby GT3. It's certainly a baby 718 Spider, Boxer Spider.
Yeah. A lot less money.
A lot less money.
And you can buy them.
And it has body roll, so it kind of all feels like one big joke, and I love it.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
It feels like one big joke. That is what the Miata is.
All right.
What's your next car? I wasn't being a jerk. I'm serious. Yeah. I think it's a great way to. It's a fun car.
It's something the whole room gets to enjoy. Right?
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you drive by, everyone points and says, "Great car."
I'll talk about this on our next bit where we talk about the cars we want.
Okay.
Actually, I'll talk about that later.
Okay. What's next? We still going chronological?
What's later in yours? Yeah. We're leaving the early 70s now.
Yeah. Now we're in the 90s. Are we?
To the 190E.
Yeah, I have a 1991 Mercedes-Benz 190E 2.6.
Now.
For now. And I will continue the conversation about that car when we're talking about cars that I want, because I got something to say. But anyway, no, it's nice. It's a nice little car. I really like it.
It's cheap.
It was cheap. It was $1,800. Then I put $4,000 in it.
You missed that?
What's that?
Put $4,000 in it. So you've tripled the amount of money that the initial car cost.
Yeah.
To get the heating working?
Yeah. I had to take off the dashboard. Didn't have time to do it myself, so I paid someone.
Did a good job?
Great job. Heat works now, except for the fact that the vents in the center, Greg found this out the hard way. So the vents in the center in a lot of German cars, especially old Mercedes, they only blow cold air. Okay?
Okay.
And the way that they want it so that you have refreshing air on your face at all times. Even though the heat's, you have refreshing cool air on your face, keep you awake, okay? And there's usually a little toggle that you toggle to close that vent if you don't want it.
But it doesn't work.
It broke.
So it's always cold.
It's always cold. So hold on, I found a solution. It's very elegant. So first of all, it's one big long piece that goes all the way around the dash, and I can't find it easily. eBay, I look all the time. They're really expensive, and I don't want to pay $900 for a piece of plastic. So what I did, as I said, very elegant solution. The vents are also broken, so they come out really easily.
Right.
And I have two specially designed pieces of fabric that just so happen to be stitched in the exact form of two black socks, and I stuff them in there and put the vents on. So that's how I adjust.
There we go.
That's how I adjust the air.
But I've driven that car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a car. It feels like an old 90s car.
Most people don't understand why the 190E is so cool.
You don't get it.
It's the baby Benz. It's the first compact sports sedan. Not sport, luxury. It feels like a big car. It weighs less than a BRZ. And it is actually an incredibly well-balanced chassis because they made a sports version of it, which we'll talk about in a second. But no, I really like that car. The ride is amazing. I think it looks so cool when I put the headlights on. I put the Euro headlights on it. Pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I was thinking of wrapping it black and like dumping it on some BBSs.
No.
Can I do that?
Somehow
Should I do that?
you'll get mugged.
Yeah.
And I don't even know, do muggings happen in Canada?
Occasionally.
Yeah. Well, you're going to make that one more frequency by doing that.
They take your Tim Hortons.
You roll the window down. Everyone's going to think there's a gangster in there. You roll the window down. They'll be like, "Oh, look."
As soon as the window's off, you remove all doubt.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me do my next car then.
Okay.
It's a huge jump because obviously you've gone from the 70s to the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take you from 2016.
Yeah.
All the way to 2018.
Yeah. Even if you went to modern year,
yeah,
it wouldn't be that much of a PP?
Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Right.
2008 in the year of our in the year of our pre-pandemic.
The year.
2018.
Yeah.
I have an Audi S4.
You do.
Technic, so it's like fully trimmed.
Is that the trim level? Technic?
It's called Technic. Yeah, it's like comfort, progressive, and then Technic.
Okay.
It is very comfortable. It has ridiculously good seats that are 2 classes above.
The seats are so good in there.
They're really good, and they massage. I didn't know they massaged until I bought it.
Oh, really?
I got it. It's blue on grey.
But are they like the lucid massage?
No.
Where it like
no.
vibrates
It's a
you?
stupid massage where it's like,
It's like just a small man punching you in the back slowly.
yeah. But yeah, I bought it to be the antithesis to the Miata. I wanted something that was a daily, that if I was driving home from a day of filming, which days of filming are exhausting, I wanted to be relaxed. I never used the massage feature, by the way.
Right.
But heated seats, comfortable seats, no heated steering wheel. The turbocharged delivery, while not exciting, is really effective.
Gives you that torque, right?
Lots of torque. It sounds pretty good. The back seats are comfortable because I knew I'd be picking up my parents from the airport once a year. I thought, thanks COVID.
Yeah.
It's not an exciting car, but it's in true Audi fashion. It is a very good car.
Yes.
The build quality is brilliant.
It is.
It does ride a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
I have a few complaints. I have a few complaints. Yeah. So it rides slightly harsh.
It doesn't have the air suspension.
No, I've got the Audi fixed sport tuned suspension.
Right, which is maybe sportier
Yeah.
than the car.
It doesn't match the rest of the car.
No.
The steering's dead.
Yeah. It's Audi stuff though.
Yeah. Well, no,
It's accurate.
The
It's
RS,
accurate.
the RS. You have to go to the RS Audis to get the really good steering, but even then, it's not that heavy. So ride's a bit harsh, steering's a bit dead,
Yeah.
and the fuel economy is terrible.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
You've never talked about that.
I drive it quite aggressively.
Yeah.
It's the perfect car if you live in a city, and especially true for Toronto, where
Yep.
if you want to go to the right lane and quickly squeeze in,
Yep.
you can. But I do that all the time, and it just is not good for fuel. But in every other way, I think it's a great car.
Can I share the car that I own that has the best fuel economy?
Go on.
It's my race car.
But is that because you trailer it everywhere and it's just achieving miles?
Yeah, 0 miles. No, actually, to be fair, when I used to so by the way, it is a 2001.
Is this the next car?
I guess it is.
Oh, that was good then. Yeah.
Those are good. I cleaned those.
And we
things.
lost the E46 M3 this year.
We did.
Which was 2001.
I sold the E46 M3. That was a 2001 E46 M3 convertible, which was fairly modded. Yeah, so a lot of people ask me, they DM me and they ask me why I sold that car. I feel like I owe an explanation because the E46 M3 is like my favorite car.
I really enjoyed that car.
Right?
Yeah.
I got rid of it because I wasn't driving it. And I wasn't driving it because any moment that I wasn't commuting in our truck, and I wanted to just go for a drive in something, I'd choose the Alfa.
Right.
Right?
That's why I think, when people say they want a dream 5-car garage, maybe the 2 or the 3 is the answer.
Yeah, because I love the M3, I really did, but I couldn't, the original E46 M3, if you had a really clean one, it can balance comfort and sport really well, but mine had like a roll cage in it, so there's no back seats. The ride was pretty stiff because it was like set up for drifting, right? And I really liked driving it, but I found that if I wanted to just cruise, which is what I usually wanted to do after coming back from a race weekend or whatever it was, I would just drive the Alfa. And
I think that's okay. I think that was a natural progression.
I wasn't getting the use out of it that I felt like the car deserved. So I swapped it. Anyway, back to the race car really briefly. So that's a 2001 325 Ci, which I put a 330 motor into it. And I raced it all season in the Pirelli GT Sprints and with Karsten in some Lucky Dog races and stuff. Anyway, the reason it gets such good fuel economy is because when I used to drive it on the road, before it had the full roll cage in it, it weighs nothing. So it was just effortless down the highway. I was getting 4 liters per 100 kilometers.
But does it get to a point where that cancels itself out, where because it weighs nothing, the air resistance makes it?
I don't know.
It can't fight the air resistance.
I don't know how the physics works, but it was getting the most hilariously good fuel economy.
Nice.
But now it's only ever wide open throttle on a racetrack.
Okay, so from 2001, we jump to, we're just on you now.
Yeah.
Because I got every car I need. The Miata is all the fun I need, and the Audi is all the...
Whatever the opposite of fun is?
Please continue with your car.
Wait, where am I? What do I do now?
Practicality. From 2001 to...
Am I missing a car?
Your newest car.
The M2.
The M2.
That's it. Well, we do have a truck.
The Ram's newer.
But the Ram, but it's not like... The Ram is a truck that we bought as a utility vehicle. I don't really count it as my I happen to drive it as for towing the
So yeah, the M2
trailer.
is the last one then.
The M2, just bought it. 2018 M2. It's in the driveway right now, and I love it.
He's not lying either. He tells me independently off camera that he just is in love with that car.
I love it. It's so fun to drive, and it's like one of the few cars I think that exist that can actually balance like a sporty daily experience with comfort and livability.
Any qualms? The ride felt slightly harsh in Toronto. Just
the ride, yeah, but it's only on the roads around here because they're really bad.
Roads bad in Toronto.
Really bad. Yeah. Where I live, it doesn't actually ever. It doesn't become an issue for me. The qualms are honestly the driving modes. I don't like that I can't get the shoutiest exhaust mode with the traction control turned all the way off, and I don't like that I can't turn the auto rev match off in Sport Plus mode.
Right.
And I don't like that I can't be in Sport Plus mode and then turn the traction control all the way off.
Okay.
It's kind of dumb.
I wish that the shifter was a bit more Miata-like, I think.
Yeah, so it's very BMW. It's very German, that shifter. It kind of has longer throws, and they're pretty like, they're not goopy, but like there's a positive click, but it's not a click like a Miata.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy driving that car. I think I might do one or two minor mods to it, but for now it's pretty much exactly what I was looking for. And I do like the seats. Like I just drove it here on an hour on the highway, stop and go. Wasn't uncomfortable. Listened to some music.
Oh yeah, I guess I did a few mods to my Miata. I didn't mention that.
Oh yeah, what did you do?
Exhaust and yeah.
You lowered it a bit.
Lowered it slightly because it rides too high.
Wheel gaps like this, yeah.
Which is fine. Like it feels like it can't. The Miata, the same as the BLZ and the 86, it feels like they come
as a platform.
As like a paint by number. Like you get to change it as much as you want.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just did an exhaust. I lowered it slightly. I got a steering wheel on there from Guardian Designs, which is really nice. It's wrapped in blue. Got a different wind blocker. I just had some fun with it. I didn't, no power mods, no performance mods really.
Just a few things to personalize it, right?
Yeah. It was just, it looked a bit plain from the factory, and I wanted to have some fun with it. All right, cars that we want.
Okay, so is this like a dream car level, or cars that we...
Why don't we do...
Let's do one dream car each.
Oh, bloody hell, okay.
Okay, you weren't ready for this. I just dropped this on you.
You know what? This is going to sound really sad.
Yeah.
I'm on a mission to fall in love with a dream car.
Yeah, you don't have one yet, do you?
Don't have it. I haven't met that person. Thing. I want it. I want it because I want something to the point where it just will never happen. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
You know? Like I can drive an LFA and I can love it. I actually think the Ford GT
is pretty close.
Was really close.
You really like that car.
Yeah, because spin out aside.
It tried to kill you.
It was.
But you loved it.
No, it was wonderful, and I think it felt so raw and so special. But I'm actually annoyed. I don't accept that it cost $500,000.
It's so
I don't
much
accept
money.
that. It's not fair that it has to.
No, I know.
There are some cars like the LFA. You drive it and you're like, "Cool, this feels like it should cost bajillion."
Yeah.
The Ford GT just felt so raw and pure, and it was just so disappointing that it cost $500,000. And I'm glad
now it does anyway.
I'm glad that some YouTubers make enough to be able to buy a Ford GT. All right. But that's not these guys, because we've hired a bunch of people to try and make our lives easier, and actually we made our lives harder because we made more work for ourselves and we upped the production. Anyway.
Yeah, we made more videos and
go on then, your dream car, because I haven't really got one.
It's funny because you're talking about you haven't met your special car. You haven't driven it. I haven't driven my dream car either. In fact, I haven't even driven the car that my dream car is based off of. Okay, it is the Alfa Holix GT-AR 290.
Yeah, it's a desirable looking car.
It's like the Singer of the Alfa world. Right, and it's based off of I believe it's a 1300 Junior, which is a 105 series Alfa. It's like a late 60s, like a 68, I think. It's the step nose front with the 2 headlights, as opposed to the GTV, which has the 4 headlights.
Right. It's beautiful, and I think
it's so much money. It's unattainable. Absolutely,
our experience is quite limited with the cars that's based off of, and our experience with the cars that the Singer is based off of is limited. But from what we've driven, I feel like we got more out of the Alfa than we did out of the old Porsches.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, well, that's why I bought an Alfa.
Yeah.
I literally bought my Spider after driving David's GTV, right? Because the 4-cylinder. Okay, a 4-cylinder can be an amazing sounding engine, by the way, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, Mazda Miata 2016.
Has to be older. This is a great sounding car. Really like the sound of your car. Your exhaust is Wonderful.
Drone's a bit on the highway.
So
Sorry, you were saying.
yeah, I just love I love classic Alphas. I love that engine. I love the way that they rev, the way they feel. They feel light. They look beautiful on the inside. And the Alphaholics is like the ultimate version of that. They made everything carbon fiber, so it's actually quick now, right?
So I think I'm in the same
I
plane.
can run faster than my Spider. So
I'm in the same plane as you. I think that if I had a dream car, it would be a resto mod. I think that's
Yeah.
why the Ford GT connects with me so
yeah,
much.
it's kind of yeah.
It feels like something that's 40 years older, but it's
got
not.
modern enough.
Yeah, so I think somewhere in there is a resto mod because it has that beautiful purity of the older time, but I like the modern stuff. Like, I don't think it's sacrilege if that Alphaholics GTA, whatever it's called, had Apple CarPlay in it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, it would just have to be. It would have to be integrated in a nice way.
It'd have to be like steampunk.
Not steampunk. It would have to be like, I don't know. It had to like have some sort of a deck or something that looks vintage when it's off
okay,
or
fine.
something.
So well
whatever.
integrated. But either way, I love the idea of a resto mod.
Well, we did see kind of a version of that in that 930 Turbo that we drove.
Did we? It had CarPlay?
Yeah, remember it had the little deck.
Oh, it had the
and
miniature
it had the
CarPlay.
tiniest little, cutest little CarPlay you've ever seen.
It was 2 layers.
Yeah, it was a screen like this big.
Exactly.
And it had boop, CarPlay. It was so funny. But yeah, like it'd have to be something like that. So it's not too.
All right, so why don't we go to a more realistic dream car?
Okay.
Which, annoyingly, still has an air of unrealism about it, just because they cost so much these days. But I think. Actually, you know what? Let's just pause from the dream car slightly.
Okay.
And I want to talk about what I would replace the S4 with. So I'm going to operate on a 2-car
yeah.
garage. So, we were talking about doing an electric vehicle.
World-class journalist.
Is it not electronic?
It technically is. Yeah.
There you go.
It's an electronic car.
Verified. Verified, which is more than I can say for our Instagram accounts.
Yeah. What's going on there?
No one from Instagram's watching this.
No.
Or maybe they are. Anyway, as I said, I like my second car to be the antithesis to the Miata, and I would love to share it with my significant other, who, by the way, loves driving the Miata. But I would also, you want that car.
February in Canada, though.
Yeah, it's nice to have the second car as a car you can chuck the keys to the person you live with and not worry.
Yeah.
So I don't mind if it stays automatic, comfortable, cruisy. And that's pointing me in the direction of the EVs. And I think there's a list of ones we want to try. And we recently
so far.
Yeah, we recently tried the Ioniq 5. That video is out, and we enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
It's a bit soft. It's a bit wafty. But given what we said...
But it's good.
Yeah, given what we said about Toronto roads...
It's good.
It might be the right car. It was really good. You'd be giving up the build quality in the Audi. That's the tough thing.
It's not like the build quality was bad.
No, it's not bad, but it stops being a pleasure and it just becomes a thing that works.
Yeah, but so there was like enough novelty in the Ioniq 5 for me that not only does it justify the price, which is not insignificant. It's not a cheap vehicle.
No, 54 in Canada
Yeah.
with the rebate, fully loaded.
But it also makes it feel like cool. Like it feels cool, like the retro styling with the tail lights and stuff, and like all the cool seat, like how much the seats recline, how much space there is.
That was great.
Like I just thought it was really neat. It's like it's a cool vehicle.
It's more of an antithesis to the Miata than the S4 is.
Yeah.
It's like here, instead of a loud, cramped roadster, here's
Yeah.
a comfy, almost limo feeling
Yeah.
Hyundai. And honestly, I'm not a badge snob, but 54 grand on a Hyundai,
Yeah.
it is a thing.
It is
a thing I'm trying to like battle. I'm like,
Yeah.
I really wish VW had made that car.
Because well, here's the thing though, like to defend Hyundai a little bit, you could say if that was a Genesis for that much money,
Yeah, it wouldn't struggle.
right? Because
Yeah.
we know that Genesis can be high end.
Except Genesis is bringing out that GV60, which looks like a squashed bug.
Yeah. It's like a fish.
And they're doing the GV70, which is electric version of that, which is look beautiful, but it's not quite my thing. The GV70,
Yeah.
I kind of like the more off the beaten path thing. And the Ioniq 5, it charges quickly, it's really quick. So yeah,
It's
that's
cool. I
that's
really
my
like that
replacement
car.
for the S4.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think.
Okay. So speaking of future kind of utility-ish vehicles, the truck is not forever. The Ram that we have.
Because it's from FCA.
That's not what I meant, but yep.
But whoever buys it next, it's going to be
so reliable.
so good. Yeah.
No, it's actually been totally fine so far. But we're not planning on having that forever. And I do want to replace it with one of the Fords that has the crazy power onboard generator thing. because I think that is the most like punch you in the face obvious feature that we need as a production company
Yeah.
and as a racing team. Like to have that much power available to plug in lights, to charge batteries, for me to run a trailer for racing. I run my jacks to put the race car up on the track.
Yeah,
Like,
we're a small team, and if there's anything that can do a bunch of things, like that's the other reason I would consider the Ioniq as a camera car. It's silent, it's
smooth,
soft.
yeah. It handles still quite well.
It doesn't
as well.
throw up exhaust smoke in front of the camera for the car.
Yeah, exactly.
So like things that complement a lot of the stuff we do in one, and I think that's why the Ford Lightning, because it has the biggest pro power on board.
Yes, but it's not like you could sit there and idle the Ford Lightning overnight to power something.
Oh, I see. Whereas the power boost, you could do the 7.2, which is
Yes.
almost as much. And
And then you have a gasoline engine if you need it.
Yeah, and this isn't a pro Ford thing. Like, I'd love it if all the other makes did it.
Yeah, if they all did that, it would just come down to which is the best version of that. But
All right, what if the Raptor came out with a 7.2? Because I think it's like a 2.5 or whatever it is right now, 2.4.
I do like the Raptor. It is really cool.
For like $100 grand.
Battery's so big though.
The money's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, these trucks are altogether too much money.
Everything is.
I don't think they need to be quite as luxurious as they are because they're utility vehicles first. They should be a little bit crappier on the inside and cheaper.
Comfortable electric cars should not be impossible for the average person to purchase.
That's the biggest obstacle right now to EVs.
But it's also cars generally. Cars are very expensive.
Yes, cars are, but you can get economy cars.
No, and some of them are
Right.
great. We tried the Hyundai Venue.
Yep.
We don't get the base Golf anymore, which is a shame.
That's a bummer.
But a lot of the base cars are really, really good. And that's what
Yeah.
the car makers don't want you to know. Just
Yeah.
the base Civic is great. The base Corolla,
Yeah.
they're good cars.
You don't need the crazy top trims of these cars because a lot of the base stuff comes with Apple CarPlay now and whatever you need, right? Like you don't need leather seats, you don't
Even
need
if
blah,
they
blah,
use
blah, blah.
stupid commercials that have Beats by Dre and funky music to make you feel like you're funky for buying it,
Yeah.
they are actually still good cars.
Just don't forget if even the base models of all cars now are significantly better vehicles to live with than mid to high trim vehicles from when your parents were buying.
No,
when you
even
were a
10
kid.
years ago.
Yeah, I know, right?
Even 5 years ago. The interiors of cars is moving on like
so quickly.
really, it's awesome actually.
Yeah. So you don't need to spend this much, and it's a shame because EVs, like the ones that have livable range, are altogether too much money now.
Yeah.
Still, right? Hopefully they come down, but who knows?
The Ioniq is and the EV6 and the Ioniq is weird actually because it came along and destroyed the Hyundai Kona Electric. It's like the Kona Electric is a it's not a purpose-built EV. It's $1,000 less. It has less range. It
is way too much money.
front-wheel drive. The Ioniq's, yeah.
You'd have to be insane.
No, there's really exciting EVs on the horizon.
Yeah.
Okay, so to replace the Audi, comfortable EV. To replace the truck, something that has the pro power on board.
Yeah, like a hybrid or an EV truck.
All right, so now let's move back onto the exciting stuff.
Okay.
Thomas gets to buy a car. It makes him excited. It makes him happy. It neutralizes an argument he just had with his wife because it's so fun to go out for a drive.
That's not going to happen, but
Because he doesn't argue with her and she's wonderful. Correct?
correct. Anyway, so
Correct. This isn't real.
it's very convenient.
It's not real.
This is an orange tip. Don't play with guns, kids. So I don't actually know. So basically, I have the M2. I've got I've got a daily car. And by the way, I have been wintering it. I've got the Michelin Pilot Alpines on it, and it's totally fine in the snow. I love driving it every day. That coupled with the truck, I don't need any more daily vehicle, period.
If money wasn't a thing, though, you'd switch it to an M2 CS like that.
Yes.
Okay. Good to know.
So there's that. And then on the fun side, I've got the Alfa. And I love the Alfa.
Thomas, we're not talking about what you've got. We're talking about what you want.
I'm getting there. And then there's this Mercedes in the middle, okay? And it's not special enough to be a special car.
It's also 75% heating right now. You bought a 25% car, and then it's mostly heating.
It's mostly heating.
You have some
yeah.
heating that has. You
It
recently
happens.
got a Mercedes.
I got a car for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have this Mercedes, which is great. I love it, and it's cool. It's a classic, but it's not like special enough that I want it to keep taking up a spot in my driveway.
Right.
But I love to death the version of it that is the one to get, which is the 2.316 Cosworth. I think that's the coolest car.
What for the uninitiated, why is it cooler?
So basically, when they released that car, they made a sporty version. It was a homologation car for racing. There's a whole story behind it. Jason Camisa has some of the best writing and video on this that you can on Haggerty. I think he did a video on it. It gives all the backstory. But the 2.316 is a sportier version of the car that I have. It comes with a high revving naturally aspirated 4-cylinder with a Cosworth head on it. Right, it makes a really cool noise. It's got different interior, a dogleg manual transmission, which means that first is down and to the left, and then first, second, third, so that you can go from fourth to third to second, and second to third is the most common shift on racetrack, so it's easier than going around the corner.
And it gets a wing?
It gets a wing, it gets side skirts, the whole thing. It looks cool, and it is the car that they, for promotion for the release of the car, they did a race with all the current F1 drivers way back in the 80s, and Ayrton Senna won that race before anyone knew who he was, right?
What's the one he did with flip-flops? Or was that the NSX?
No, that's the NSX.
Okay.
That was a promo. That was a promo for the NSX, and it is the coolest video on the internet. It wasn't. They were loafers. He was wearing suede loafers. He shows up in his crazy heel toe.
How much? At the risk of doing a really dated comment that's going to not make sense in a week, how much do they go for, the Cosworths?
Anywhere from like 15 grand for a janky one to 40 grand, 50 grand for a really nice one.
Okay, so that's an attainable.
It is an attainable car, and it's a classic. Like, it's a classic car, and I would have it and keep it and take care of it. Whatever.
So that maybe is on the horizon in some form.
Maybe, I don't know. I can't think of.
But then so is procreating.
Yes, so. When you call it that, it takes the magic out of it,
Not magical.
So
surgical.
So anyway,
like a Porsche.
Speaking of which, thanks for the segue. The other thing I was looking at was potentially a 944. I kind of like.
Don't approve.
You don't like the 944, do you?
I know I like it fine. It's just I don't think it's exciting. It's not special enough.
No, the engine is not that special.
It looks just like an old car. I don't think the design has aged in a way that makes. No, I think that Cosworth is cooler.
It is cooler, you're right.
Can I call it a Cosworth? Is that fair?
Yeah, people call it a Cosworth, yeah. The 2.316.
Old Cosy, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's just a really cool car. It's got cool history, and it looks awesome. I can't think of anything else right now for me that would fill the niche. So you now, James.
Me.
What is on the horizon?
So cars are expensive.
Yes, very expensive.
This we know. I really, when I say that the Miata is all I need, I really do believe that. It's not just a piece of rubbish. I think, and any brand could make it. This isn't a Mazda obsession or anything to do with that. It's specifically that car. Because it actually doesn't really fit Mazda at the moment.
No.
No, it's not a massive match for them. But because everything's supposed to be premium now, everything's going. But it is quite beautiful though, and their cars are quite good looking at the moment. But the Mazda Miata is pure, and the annoying thing is, as a car enthusiast, and I was saying this before, is I want to want something. It's always fun, there's this erroneous concept that you need to keep upgrading your car. That's not true. If you own a Jetta, you don't need to then own an A4 and then 4 years from now own an RS5 or an RS6.
No, you don't.
It's not necessary because at some point it's diminishing returns. And especially if you're working your nuts off just to upgrade the car, maybe you're better off just having a nice time.
Also, I want to point out that we're very lucky that we get to drive all these cool cars. But when it comes to owning our personal cars, we're maybe a little bit cursed, because back before you drove a lot of new cool cars, you probably were able to look at something and you got to wonder what it's like.
Yeah.
Right? You got to go like, wow, that is a car that I'd like to own. And then you get to drive it now and you go like, well, now this doesn't drive as well as I thought it would, or it doesn't drive as well as this competitor. So maybe I don't want it anymore.
I don't think we're any more bitter and jaded, but I think one thing we have lost is the idea of desirability. Which it plays such a strong role in a purchase. It's like, I really want that. And then, you watch a video and they're like, well, the steering's not great. You're like, cool. I really want
still really want it, yeah.
Whereas because we go through so many cars, it takes away the idea that you may one day own something. So it's nice, actually, especially when we get to the end of the year and we can kind of reflect, to look at what cars we want to own and which cars, when I go out in my driveway a month from now or 8 months from now, I still want to be there.
Yeah.
It's a more powerful statement. So for me, I love the Miata experience, and I constantly wonder, how can I upgrade this? If I wanted to lust after something, what can I do to upgrade that experience? And I land on things like the 718 Spider, but then the limits are so high. That car is incredible, and I think it's one of the most fun, engaging cars.
It is really good.
The roof mechanism's stupid, but the car itself is absolutely brilliant, and it's quite expensive, but you can, unlike the GT3, you can get one. The allocations are easier to get.
Yep.
If you can just cough up the cash, and I think it's a beautiful car, and we're lucky to have it. But
How much are they?
I think they're 120-ish, 130-ish.
Yeah.
It's a lot of car.
It's a lot of car, a lot of money, but it is a lot of car.
And then I'm and that's kind of that price range is kind of where sits the Miata, the enhanced Miata experiences, because I don't think something like a BMW Z4, even though it's a two-seater roadster, actually is that sort of high revving manual experience.
No, because it's not special or better enough than a Miata to offset how fun the Miata is.
Yeah, so you have to jump another price range.
Yeah.
So you get to the Boxster Spiders and the GT4s, and we have incoming Z8,
Reset.
the C8 Z06,
There it is.
which is going to be phenomenal. There's the GT4 RS, which is a more nuts kind of race car.
Yeah.
And then there's the Lotuses. And I think, and being a part of the Miata forums, it looks like a lot of people progress. By the way, Miata forums is a really fun place to be, because everyone is a car enthusiast and everyone's wondering how to upgrade. And there's this stage that everyone goes through where they're like, hey guys, this has been great with the Miata. I've now bought a Boxster Spider or a Z4.
Right, I see. Yeah.
And then about 4 years later, they're like, hey, I'm back in a Miata. Couldn't be any happier.
Yeah, it didn't do what I wanted. Yeah, it's funny.
Because that experience is hard to replicate. But I think if there
What
was...
are you Miata guys like though? Like when someone leaves and comes back, are you all as like happy and chipper as
Absolutely.
as I picture you? Be
Absolutely.
like, have fun.
It's like, we didn't know you left.
Yeah.
Come back to the
Good to
table.
see you back.
Yeah, it's annoying actually. It's cringily happy. If you go looking for a fight on the Miata forums, you're going to get a fight, but it's just going to be like, it just slaps. Anyway, but yeah, the Lotus is kind of one of the only modern, like the idea of a modern car that captures old style driving and naturally aspirated thrills for cheap is, or not cheap, but for not GT3 money, is a Lotus. And I think you can either go back in time and get something like an Elise.
Like a good clean Elise.
But they cost a lot of money in North America. They're much cheaper in the UK. They're hard to maintain. They're expensive to maintain, and there's not much support for them here. Which leads you to the newer Lotuses, and we have the incoming Emira, which I think is a really desirable car. It's not hand built like the Evora. It's from Geely. Not sure quite. It's like Family Guy. I'm not sure quite how to say this. Kim Basinger. Anyway, the company Geely owns Lotus now.
Yeah.
And that's quite exciting actually, because it means there's a lot more money behind it, which is what Lotus has needed. And the Emira is two choices of engines. There's the i4 turbocharged one from the CLA 45.
Something like that, yeah.
And
then
that's going to be sub 100,000 Canadian. And then the one that's north of 100,000 is going to be the supercharged Toyota V6.
Yeah. An engine that's known for being reliable and good.
Yeah, and the car is tiny. It fits the Lotus philosophy. The manual shifter, you can see the mechanism underneath as it goes through. Like, there's so much to love about that car. So yeah, I think I want one. I would lose the convertible. I'd lose that, which sucks.
You'd have to like sell some assets basically to be able to do this.
Yeah, we'll sell your assets. But yeah, do I replace the Miata? Do I find a way to keep the Miata?
Yeah.
And then also, it becomes an expensive car that you have to.
Very expensive.
It's also very wide. It's as wide as a Bentley Continental GT.
Really?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to park it and the Hyundai in the garage.
Maybe not.
Wow.
But it becomes the expensive car that you can't take into town because you're worried about it, and that defeats all of the things that I love about the Miata. So I just got to get Caterham.
You've been talking about a Caterham for a while.
I need to try it because I thought incorrectly that I would love a Shelby Cobra replica, and it was
too much.
It was just too much.
It's too much.
Not too much money, too much car. It didn't quite have the balance.
Well, the original Shelby Cobra is too much money.
Yeah, it did. But it just didn't feel playful.
No.
It felt insane and intense, but not playful. And I wanted something playful and jovial.
A Caterham is definitely playful. I've only driven one Caterham, and I remember very much enjoying it, but it is a very visceral experience.
Yeah.
So
Are Ariel Atoms road legal here?
I don't actually know.
Because they're about 50 grand.
That would be really cool.
That could be quite fun. But then I think everything would be a departure from a Miata.
Very exposed in an Ariel Atom. Like there's a lot of wind and rocks and dirt and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
true.
The same with a Caterham. At least with the Lotus, you'd be able to take it places.
Yes.
And it wouldn't hurt.
And I think, but I'm trying to remove the hype because there's a lot of hype on the Emira.
Yeah.
And I actually did an Instagram post the other day of like, if you had to choose one of the 3 incoming exciting enthusiast cars, GT4 RS, Emira, Z06.
Yeah.
What would you pick?
What
and I've
people say.
completely forgotten what the vote was.
It's really
It was
useful.
heavily in the favour of the Z06 at the time. But the GT4 RS had just been announced.
Would you own a Z06?
No,
No.
it's not very. It's big.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's amazing.
I think I could own one of those. I think I could pull that off. Not that I would or can or should or whatever. But
Well, it's perfect because you and the rest of this Corvette owners can't turn your neck.
yeah, my neck is very stiff. It just happens. It's too much driving.
How quickly can you look that way than this way? There's a Corvette owner right there. Us Lotus owners are nimble.
Flexible. You ever
Yeah.
have you ever got into an Elise? You need to be
I
flexible.
bet the Evora is easier. They've gone luxury.
Guaranteed it's easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing's more difficult to get in than an Elise, other than not like a race car.
All right, quick fire round.
Yeah.
So what we've just discussed is how we would come up with the best cars to upgrade our current 2 and 3 car garages.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that luxury.
No.
What if you could only have one car? Because that was my life for a long time. I
Yeah.
had one space in the building.
Yeah.
You know, I had a TTS. I lived with the Miata on its own for a bit. Didn't work.
Yeah, like I bought a house really far away from where the houses are expensive so that I could have a lot of parking spaces.
Yes, I know. It's a pain in the ass to drive to.
Yeah.
You drove here today, so thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, the one car.
Should we stick a budget on it?
Well, now you're making it more difficult. It's hard enough as it is.
Okay, I won't stick a budget
I
on
was going to say M2 because I could get by with an M2.
it. M2CS? That's your one.
Well, yeah, or just a regular M2.
He means an M2CS. So it's a one car that does everything as M2CS.
Yeah, because like
you can fit adults in the
only
back.
because you can fit people in the back and it has a usable trunk.
See, it has value being able to. There's an M2 owner right here, and he has value in sticking people in the back.
Yeah, you putting people in the back seat of the car is really, really important. Otherwise, I would have bought a Cayman. That's it, right? Like that, because the Cayman's more fun to drive, ish in ways.
Sharper,
No,
sharper,
it's
tool-
sharper,
sharper
yeah.
weapon.
But the M2 is literally usable as an everyday car.
The M2CS has the adaptive suspension.
That's nice, but I'm probably going to put some aftermarket dampers in my M2 anyway.
Right.
So like I wouldn't want to. But listen, I would buy the M2CS just because it's special.
Yeah.
Right, but it is a lot of money. If I was just trying to keep the cost down, because you're talking about cost.
Well, I kind of had 100 grand in my head as like the one do everything car.
But yeah, I could get by through whatever winter storms, blah blah, with an M2. It would probably get stuck and it would be a pain, but I would make it happen because of how fun that car can be on the road, on a track, on a drift course, whatever it is. That car does enough for me that's probably all I would need as an everything.
My one car solution is between 2 cars,
Okay.
and they're very similar.
Okay.
E63S,
Oh, that's a good one.
CT5V Blackwing.
Oh, damn it. Those are both really
And
good.
I think I would be swayed to the E63S purely because you can get it formatic, because it's formatic until you don't want it to be.
Those are really, really good everything cars.
Yeah.
They're really expensive, but they're really, really good everything
I think
cars.
it's really fun. Like the stuff like the RS6 is great, but the E63S just is so fun.
Yeah, damn.
That's my one.
I can drift all those too.
You've done it
Damn.
now. You chose the
no,
M2.
damn. Oh.
You chose the little car.
Listen, me and the M2 are gonna have a great time together. Okay, we're gonna go and ruin some tires.